I'm Richard Bax. I'm a senior partner at Transcript Partners. I work in a team looking at the global research and development of antibiotics. Antibacterials produce enormous benefits, but use will ultimately lead to loss of those benefits by the development of resistance of the bacteria, whether used appropriately or inappropriately. As early as 1945, with the introduction of general penicillin supplies, Fleming noted that there was a danger that underdosing by itself would expose microbes to non-lethal quantities of penicillin and make the bacteria resistant to penicillin. Most classes of antibiotics, which have different modes of action, were developed between 1940 and the 50s, and very few new novel antibiotics, those with unique action, have been developed since the mid-80s, and those that have been developed are generally for infections caused by one subgroup of organisms, such as MRSA. The lack of new novel antibiotics has occurred in parallel with a logarithmic rise in multi-drug resistant bacteria that carry 3 or more resistant genes to 3 or more classes of antibiotics. This phenomenon is global, and each resistant organism arising in one country is being transmitted freely by people traveling and by animals in the food chain. Infections due to superbugs, multi-drug resistant bacteria, occur predominantly in patients in hospital, but it has been noted that some people in the community are becoming colonized with these nasty bacteria, resulting in some people becoming infected in the community with these organisms. For example, a urinary tract infection, which is common in the community and in hospital, can be caused by organisms with extended spectrum beta-lactamase strains, which are resistant to all available oral and many injectable antibiotics. This results in patients in the community with uncomplicated urinary tract infection having to use a reserve antibiotic, a carbapenem, which is only available intravenously, and thus the patient must be hospitalized. The last truly novel and new antibiotic with a broad spectrum of activity against multi-drug resistant gram-negative bacteria was nalidixic acid. This was launched in 1963. Because of this, there is therefore an urgent and pressing need to research and develop and make available new broad-spectrum antibiotics now. Big pharmaceutical companies have largely left the field of antibiotic research. The reasons are that there is a big lack of incentives, poor success in research and development, increasing challenges to register drugs through complicated, difficult and ever-changing regulatory demands, and also because of the fact that no new antibiotics have been licensed, the market is essentially generic and therefore low price. So what can be done? It's clear that several radical changes need to occur soon and together in order to allow the rapid availability of appropriate antibiotics to treat the increasing microbial threat. These include recognition of the problem, research and development, and a reduction in regulatory barriers. All three need to work together to streamline clinical trials and to ensure adequate financing and support during the complicated R&D processes. Also, small companies often fail early because of lack of finance and expertise in order to move forward. This needs addressing now. A clear and feasible regulatory strategy agreed with the regulators in advance of the trial program with no unexpected changes will lead to robust studies and to more likelihood of regulatory success. The price will need to be addressed, so antibiotics for serious infections are priced appropriately for limited populations. This will, of course, result in antibiotics becoming more expensive. These factors together will result in significantly increasing the investment and consequently early availability of these important antibiotics to patients in need. So these challenging and exciting times, regulators have shown an interest in fast-tracking important new antibiotics because of the high risk for multi-drug resistant organism. A broad range of investors appear to be willing to invest significant monies into this area of R&D. Big pharma and small pharmas and universities will find increased ease of funding for the whole process of R&D. The only question now arises is, will this be enough and in time to address the issue of multi-drug resistant bacterial infection?